Bug in or bug out? The debate that destroys friendships. Welcome back to the Prepper Network podcast. This is episode 1, who we are, what we do, and what is the Prepping Network. My name's Lewis, along with Jim and Frank over here. Jim, so people are running riot. Civil unrest is here. Are you bugging in or are you bugging out?
Come on, are we gonna do this the first episode? I mean, you know it. It's like the impossible question. Have you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? You know, everybody has the answer to the ultimate question. It's 42, but nobody knows and understands the question. So everybody has an opinion if they're gonna bug in or if they're gonna bug out, and they prepare for that, but they don't know when they're gonna use it. So
it's a huge topic among the preppers.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think we can actually shed some light on it today, but I think also we will generate more questions to ask, because I think it's very important that you think of this ahead of time. When is the correct time to leave and where? And I think that when it happens, it can be too stressful to actually make a good informed decision in time. So depending on, now we are talking about riots and stuff, and that is it a riot where you are right now, or is it like a nationwide unrest? Because how you would tackle those situations are very different.
Sure. Yeah, well, this is it. I think when it comes to bugging out, it just depends on the situation, you know, and, because sometimes you're forced to leave, the state tries to force you to leave, your home in certain situations. But when it comes to civil unrest and things like that, it depends, like you said, on the scale of the civil unrest, of course. But, I think in most cases, I'm bugging in. It would be my fault, and I'm booby trapping my house like Home Alone. So
what's your take, Frank?
Well, if you want my serious answer on the bugging in and bugging out, I've always maintained that the home that I'm in is extremely well fortified, more or less. I've got approximately 16 cameras in the house. I'm on a height, I'm 160 meters above sea level. My home is safer than the outside environment, basically. If you're going to be bugging out, you're going to be open to elements and all kinds of things. I have all of my solid supplies here, like my security is my house. I have dogs here as well. Can you imagine bringing dogs on a road trip with you? They're all going to be excited and all that. Yeah, well, roads would be dangerous as well. If not, maybe impassable. Say you have to go and bug out for some kind of a natural emergency, a hurricane or tornado or floods or whatever happens in your local area. Everybody is unique to their area. I mean, I know I'm not going to get flooding here. That's for sure, 100%. But we had a hell of a storm there today. Now it should have been upgraded to like amber or red nearly today, but it's after passing now. So the country was in kind of a bad situation. So yeah, blizzards, civil unrests, short-term disruptions. You'd stay at home. Yeah, that was my take on bugging in. So stay home, and people know. Yeah, like my family know to come to me in various types of emergencies. So if I bug out, it's another scenario. They have to know where I'm gone. The pros and cons of that are access to my full supplies here in my house, shelter, insulation, and security. That's a pro. That's a absolute 100%. Less exposure to the unknown dangers of what's outside when you go and leave your safe environment.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. I think a lot of people don't realize that bugging out is good, but in certain situations, but you're putting yourself and your loved ones in the unknown, because there's if it is civil unrest on a large scale, there's going to be danger all around you, plus you're exposed to the elements, supplies, and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
I usually don't look at it as I rarely use the term bug out or bug in. I usually think of it like, is it safest to stay at home and possibly stay indoors, or is it safer to relocate?
Yes.
And then you have evacuation. I mean, if something really bad happens, they can order an evacuation, and then authorities will at least here, I guess they will often relocate you. If it isn't in, that could be in like a fire or something, then they will probably say you have to leave the area. But say
Sure.
there is some other happening where there's no real place for people to stay, well, maybe then they will house you in like a indoor football field or a gymnasium or like, school buildings or something. But I rarely think that it is a good idea to just, oh no, I'm just gonna leave on foot. No, I will have like a plan. Okay, now it would be safer for us to go to these relatives or these friends or something like that, because that area is safer.
And I just used a scenario that happened in Spain. I think it was about 4 years ago. This is really it's a bit traumatic the way it happened. But the fires in Spain about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a husband and wife on their honeymoon from Ireland. They were staying in a villa. The flames came up the mountain, and everybody was told to evacuate. Now they barely got out of the house. They got into some neighbor's car because they didn't know where they were. So somebody was driving in the car. They jumped in to the boot of the car because the car was full of people. Her husband was holding on to her in the back of the car, and the flames flew over and they got burnt. He got burnt and he fell out of the car. She survived. He fell
Wow.
out. He didn't survive. Now, I was looking at the house later on in my own head, and I said, they had a lovely pool. What I would have done in that situation was to get into the pool and cover your heads with a plastic table, anything at all. The flames are not going to go into your head or anything, because, there's nothing there that's going to go on fire. But to be able to put your head up and breathe underneath that table, the two of them would have survived. Guarantee that would have happened. Do you know what I mean? It allows them to breathe in that environment. And then the flashover would have happened within 30 minutes, let's say. It's moved on and at least you're alive. That's one scenario of bugging out or bug in or bug out.
Yeah.
That is a great example right there.
Well, this is what I was thinking earlier. It depends on the situation, and also bugging out, as the term goes, requires so much planning. Because some people go to the extreme, obviously, at hiding supplies and burying supplies in certain places and stuff like that. But and having a certain location. But it's all well and good having all that. But then, obviously, how do you know that the route to that location isn't going to be cut off?
Yeah.
It's so much unknown. It's just crazy.
You see, they were on the honeymoon, so they did not know their location, which is fair enough. Most people, if you go on holidays, you don't know the back roads or the country roads or whatever. It's not your job to know that. You're there on holidays. But in your own environment, you know what's safe to do, what's not safe. Like in the hurricane scenarios in America, they were told to leave. Lads, get out of there. It's coming in. It's going to be a huge, big wave of water in advance of the hurricane. And a lot of people died over that. And there were 2 weeks before the army and reserves came in to help them out.
Wow.
So that's another situation. So I suppose you've got right in your own head to know what's coming. What would cause me to bug out of my house right now? I don't honestly know. I think I just never gave a thought. But we do have a secondary place. Like, we do have a place to go in the event of nuclear fallout. Like, we do have a place. In that case, I would have to get out.
Yeah, of course.
But technically, the house should be okay. But just to be safer, I'd go further where I know we've got mass concrete over our heads by 20 feet, So,
Wow.
and our group as well, we know that if a huge disaster comes in, we know where to meet up in the middle of the country. So that's the thing, which hopefully we'll never have to do. But it's nice to have that in the back of your head as well.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Give it a big
And
thought.
you touched upon one thing now that I think many people miss when they think about bugging out, and that is, where are you when this event happens that makes you, "Oh, I'm gonna go"? Are you all at home, or do you have to collect your family first? Where are they? Can you get a hold of them? Is the first step not bugging out? Is it getting home or getting to a secondary location? Is that pre-planned? Does everybody in your family or your close ones, do they know what they are supposed to do? I mean, you can have young children in daycare or in schools and stuff. You need to come get them. Or if there is something happens there, where are they taken? If I don't mean like maliciously taken, I mean if there's a fire or there's something happens that where do you know that where do they go? Where is the because I mean like schools and stuff, they should have plans for that, and it's not sure that they do. But
Probably
if
not.
they do, is that communicated and do you know, or they just they were shipped by shipped are they were they transported by a bus like 4 kilometers? I mean 4 kilometers to another school can be like it could be another country for all you know if you can't get a hold of them. You just don't know. So I think the first thing to address is how do I collect the people that I need to be with? I think that's a way worse or harder problem than maybe planning for a second location or something like that.
Well, yeah, because I think it's, it's very rare that everyone is all together. Most of our time is spent at work in different locations. The chances of something happening when we're all when your family all in different locations is very high. So
There was another scenario there one day. I was giving an interview on the radio, and I said to the presenter, I said to him, as I was driving, I was driving over. We have a brand new bridge here in Ireland. It's the Rose Kennedy Bridge. It's huge. It's massive. It's the highest one in Europe. Well, I think it's the highest one in Europe. I said to him, what? He said to me, what kind of disasters am I prepping for? And I said, well, I'm talking to you here now. I'm driving along. And next thing I see over my head, a meteorite blasting down, and it's about to hit somewhere. I know it's going to hit up the road. I said, all of my preps are home. What am I going to do? That's a question. Like that's getting caught with your pants down.
Yeah.
I'm not home and I'm at work, so
Yeah.
I know I have a get home bag in the van, which just I'd say most preppers do, because especially a weather bag or whatever. But yeah, that kind of thought. You don't think of these things. These things
No.
are things that we think of.
No.
Ordinary Joe Soap would never think of this.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's just,
Well,
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
I'm actually in a temporary location at the moment, so I can't really prep, shall we say, because I haven't got the room. So I'm just hoping, that Putin doesn't get angry or anything like that, or anything happens over the next few months. Otherwise, otherwise I'm screwed.
You see what happened there? I won't go into too much politics. That would drag us away from the topic. We had the pros and cons anyway of this. So the pros I gave there were access to supplies, installation and security, shelter. So the cons I would say would be, again, if escape might be much harder escape might be much harder in the event of wildfire. Where are you going to escape to? Or you're a stationary target. Your security becomes an issue if you stay put. So there's, just give and take. So with a bug out, we move on to the bug out scenario. So leaving your location and moving to a safer place. When bugging out makes sense. So as I said, if you had a wildfire coming up the hill towards you, do you go out? Do you have a swimming pool? There you go. Small things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have a swimming pool? Should I stay? Should I go? Will I die if I stay? If I go, will I be safe? There was a fire in the Austrian tunnel years and years ago when they were building it. Can you remember this? And a lorry went on fire in the tunnel, and it was a sloped tunnel. So the lorry blocked, they were halfway through it, 11 miles in or something. The tunnel going through the Alps. The lorry blocked all traffic, plus the smoke was going up. So people got out of the cars and started running up because they knew it's only 2 miles to the exit that way, but 5 miles to the exit down. The guys that went down survived, but they had to pass by the burning lorry because they knew if they go up, the smoke's going to kill them. Everybody went up, died. Everybody went down, survived.
Crazy.
It was in panic mode.
Yeah. You don't think, do you?
No, you don't. That's actually on the record somewhere. So I was just thought of it as we were speaking about it.
But in the case of civil unrest, though, like when things get heated, and do you bug in or do you bug out, Frank? Like where it's like real bad civil unrest, like anarchy style.
I think I hold my ground here.
Yeah.
Because in the civil unrest scenario, I do have family members that will come to my aid, and they can back me up. And some of the guys will come down, and I know we'll get backup, and we'll be well protected. Put it
Yeah.
that way.
Because
Without
like,
going into too much detail.
I ask because obviously I know obviously in the UK and in Ireland right now, obviously things are quite unstable, you know, with certain situations.
I think we'll be okay out where I am, because as I said, I'm miles
Yeah.
from a city. I don't live in a city, but in a city it will get a bit hairy. And in England, yeah, they've I think, I'm not sure, but I think they've cancelled the mayoral elections for the next 2 years.
Yeah. Crazy.
There was a lot of money spent on it, and the mayoral elections, most of them are of a different variety to us. So somebody's jumping in and caused a lot of havoc there.
Yeah,
So a lot
definitely.
of they're not happy over there. In England, they're not happy.
No. Definitely not.
I think you touched on something that I was going to ask, and that is, it's like a counter question. Because what's one of the things that are missing in your case, Lewis, you know, this scenario with the civil unrest. I mean, like, firstly, what kind of civil unrest is it? Is it like, oh, it's demonstrations and people are destroying things and it's dangerous in the city, but on the countryside it's safe?
Sure.
Or is it like Rwanda, you know, like, or I don't remember where the chaos is right now, but when they are seeking out their neighbors and killing them. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a huge difference between those
Sure.
two.
Well, no, definitely.
Both are civil unrest.
The thing is that there's a tipping point, isn't there? Because sometimes you don't think it's going to get that bad. And I remember there was riots in the UK not so long ago, and you know, there's people running around the streets with with machetes and knives, you know, and I remember speaking to my brother going, is this it? Is it gonna tip? Because you just don't know. Like, is this just gonna be last a couple of days, or is something gonna happen? This is gonna be the tipping point where everything breaks out. Because there's a lot of, you know, without going like Frank says, without going too political. At the moment in the UK, there's a big situation with different groups against each other and stuff like that. And you know, I think it's on a very fine line. It wouldn't take much to tip, you know. But yeah, but when it kicks off, you think, oh yeah, it's just one of these things. It's going to be the last couple of days. Next thing you know, it all goes crazy. There was like the London riots back in what year was it? The London riots, no, burning buses, burning houses.
Oh, that was back in the early 90s.
Yeah, and they were actually
Brixton riots?
I think it was. And they started actually, there's a few houses that were set on fire, and people were setting fire to other people's houses even, you know. So, but when is that? You don't know when that tipping point's coming, you know. So it's very difficult to assess.
We had a bit of that over here 2 years ago, and it was only it wasn't on the news because they just don't talk about it here, where some engineer apparently stabbed a couple of children and a teacher, and the whole place went cracked over here. They burned trains, buses, police cars, started to burn buildings. Oh, it went really bad, and the local police were not expecting this.
No.
There's no new policy brought up. They have new machinery, water cannons brought in. They own them. They have Humvees, big armored personal carriers, which I've never seen in Ireland, but now we have. So yeah, they're getting ready for something, because something is coming as well. So, you know, without going into too deep into politics, because that's just a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. We're trying to get away from that at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Sure, still saying.
So what else? We go on to the bugging out part of it then, as I said. Say your location and becomes unsafe, fire, floods, kills, by conflict, as we were just talking about then. Do you have a bug out location in mind? This is, say, if you decide you're going to bug out, what would you do now, Lewis?
Me? The thing is,
as you said, you are in
I'm
at the moment.
I haven't really got a but that's why I say I'm bugging in whatever.
Well, as I said before, it depends on the situation, but most things I think I would stay here, and if it's a thing that would make me not to stay here, it would be very local. So if the probability that it's something so large that I will have to consider it not being safe in the other locations that I might go to. I feel that's kind of slim. Like, say there's some kind of catastrophe here that makes us, we're not gonna stay here in our city. Well, I can go north to my family, my relatives, or we can go south to my wife's family and relatives, and they are on different distances. So depending on what it is, we can just relocate, and it would be, I would probably estimate it to be very temporarily. So that's my take on it. And I have a hard time, unless there's armed conflict. I mean, like another state
invades.
That's a whole nother question. But if we're talking
Sure.
like, the things that I could foresee in like the next 5 years or something like that, then I have a very hard time thinking that I would do anything other than staying home, maybe taking other people into our home, or relocating by car, for example, to relatives and family and friends that are on an appropriate distance from where we are now.
Yeah, so if they came and invaded you from the north, you'd go south, obviously.
Yeah. And also,
Or which way would you come in?
say that there is armed conflict.
Mm.
Then here where I live, everybody between 16 and 74 years old, I think it is, have a duty to stay and to be part of the defense. Not necessarily military defense, but it's called total defense duty. So you are supposed to go to work as usual, and not a lot of people talk about this, or maybe they are starting to, but if there's an armed conflict, most of the time it's gonna be like normal and boring.
Yeah.
So one of the key things is to keep things going, keep
Yeah.
the apparatus going. And so I plan to go to work and do all that kinds of stuff. And we have war placements, I would translate it to. And not everybody has them, but more and more people have them. So then you have a designated place to go, and most of the time, if you're not like a reserve or a home guard in the armed forces, then it's gonna be your work.
Yeah.
So that you are stationed at. So I would, with the biggest certainty, try to keep things as normal as possible and keep things going as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, I think in the UK, in the case of, as Keir Starmer's saying, in the case of war, he's just going to enlist everyone.
Germany today, they brought out today that they're doing compulsory subscription coming
Yeah.
in on 1st of January. So anybody over the age of 16 is now, born 2008 and become 18 on the 1st of January, they are going to be liable to be conscripted for army service.
Yeah.
That's us on the news today.
And now I have a follow-up question to that, because in Sweden we have that system. There was a gap when we didn't have it. We had a professional military, but for a very long time, and now again, we have a conscription. So it's normal for people to go to military service for about a year after they quit, I don't know what it's called, mandatory school, and before they go to university or start working. So that's a normal thing here.
Yeah.
I thought they stopped that, but they did it in England, and they cancelled it in England around 1980s. I think it was compulsory. But I think that makes a man go to join the Navy or join the.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
That makes absolutely fantastic. Throw him in. I did the FCA for years, which is the same as Territorial Army. I did it when I was 16, 17, 18. I thought it made me, for sure, 100%.
Well, I think that's half of the problem in the UK and Ireland nowadays, is half the youngsters don't have any discipline. That's the problem.
Yeah. Also in the UK, there was a questionnaire went out to, I think it may be 2,000 youngsters and mixed races as well. The question was, if the UK went to war in the morning, and say they were fighting Muslims, just for example, would you join up and fight the Muslim, or would you fight with the Muslims? I think 85% turned around and said, we will fight with them against you in your own country. So
That's wild.
there you go. That is absolutely scary. Again, keep it away from that topic because we just keep going. It's dangerous.
Wild.
Yeah.
No, crazy.
So where are we on the bugging out question?
Wow,
we're not getting sidetracked. We're good.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think we should talk about how we actually came together. So I know my part. I know I met Frank first, and it was when I started Prepping Europe, and I was searching actively for other groups, and I came into contact with Frank through his group, and then we got to talk more personally because Frank had contact with a TV crew that wanted to come and see a bunker somewhere. And in Sweden we have a lot of bunkers. So I think that's how we got to know each other, Frank.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that now. That was early this year. It was this year. Yeah, for sure. This year. And TV program, they were with me last year. And this time they wanted to see a bunker, but he did America. And I think he did Scandinavia as well. So I haven't, it's actually on TV now, the six programs. So I haven't recorded. I just need to watch him and see how he's getting on. I was speaking to the main guy in the program yesterday, and I told him that we're doing the podcast and all this. He might want to come on and question us at some later stage, but he's easy going. He really wanted to see what a bunker was. I wasn't happy showing him where my primary bunker is. That's my main thing. I don't, because I had another guy come to my house and he was able to, oh, I see you live next to a castle and this castle is such and such. Oh, and it's just up the hill and down to turn left and over there. I said to myself, oh, what the hell am I doing with this guy? He's telling everybody in the world. I go publicly on TV and on podcasts with her to bring prepping to people to get their mindset into the prepping mode. I do it because I love the hobby. I think you all guys do the very same. I don't mind going public. But as I said, I have a strong backup with the family and everything, and something goes wrong here. My initial background anyway, as you know, is Navy, Merchant Navy. How I got into prepping originally was, how did I get into it? Oh yeah, we were delivering a ship down into the Mediterranean, at that time was Yugoslavia. Because Yugoslavia, when we left, it was the Balkans. When we left the ship, when we left to go down there, Yugoslavia was tension as well, and all of that. And by the time we got down there, and it took us a while to get down there because this particular ship was not designed for long distance, but it was a big yoke. So it's called a lightning barge. Anyway, I won't go into too much detail. We kind of got there and we couldn't hand off the ship because we couldn't go ashore and we were kind of told to hold tight. We weren't allowed to go into port, so we anchored. And it was a battleship grade so we were like the Navy for all the world. There was guys on shore. I'm sure they took a few pot shots, but they wouldn't hit us. They were too far out. We started to run out of food and especially water. We didn't have any water makers or anything like that. So food was an issue. Water was an issue. We got a few fishing boats that come out to us and give us some fish, and we were fishing off the boat. We're only there 3 weeks. So I think it was, if it's 3 weeks, I'd say 17 days. But our company then told us that, go lads, come on, let's get out of here. So we went back, got to Greece, and we were fine. I was only a young guy at the time. I don't know, 19, 21, was it? No, 22. No, I wasn't. I was a little older. Anyway, I thought it was great. My introduction's just kind of starving and with the food and the water and all that kind of stuff and rationing. But it was years and years later then when I bought myself a sailboat, a big sailboat, 30-foot sailboat, and I was planning on sailing for 3 or 4 years with my wife. And we were just going to rent a house out and just go sailing. That was 2007 or 8 when the last recession came in. So I went deep into prepping at that stage as well.
Yeah.
I remembered all of my knacks from back in the day. And that's kind of led me to 2012 when I formed the Irish Survivalist Group. I was making videos showing various do's and don'ts when you're out survivaling and bushcraft. Bushcraft was I loved doing bushcraft. It was actually pretty good. I had to do with nothing. We wonder how our forefathers managed back in the day. Now I know how they did it. It was a hard tack for them. We have it really handy. We really, really have it handy. But they had a hard tack. Can you imagine them surviving winter for extended periods and they can't grow something in the ground, or the apples have stopped, the apples stop ripening and the tomatoes don't grow in the winter. So, they had to be very inventive as well.
Yeah.
So basically that's where I am. I've been doing it since, and I got asked to do various presentations over the years as well, TV shows and whatever. So yeah, I've done it all, been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, and I'm enjoying this particular part as well. I enjoyed in the podcast as well. Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic.
I think it's fun. May it continue. Rock on, baby.
Yeah. How did you get to know Lewis, Frank?
I don't know, Lewis. How did I get to know you?
Do you know what? I can't actually remember how it was. It wasn't even that too long ago, but I can't remember how it was you reached out. I know because I started the Radio Prepper Network.
That's what it was.
Before,
one day.
I started the Radio Prepper Network before I started the Prepper Network. The Prepper Network came after because, like I say, me being heavy into radios and communication, that's where my biggest part of prepping is, should I say. That's what I like. My biggest hobby is the radio side of things because. But when it comes to prepping, I've never really been a heavy prepper. And sometimes space has been a big problem for me because I've normally lived in apartments and things like that. So apartment prepping is a lot more difficult than if you live in the sticks and you've got a nice big house and you can put solar panels on the roof and things like that. Like my father, he lives in the country. He's got a big water tank underground and solar panels on the roof, and he's had chickens and they've grown food in the back up. So it's a lot easier when you have the space. And when you're living in an apartment, it's pretty difficult. But I've always been from inspiration of seeing how my father lives in the sticks and stuff. It's kind of inspired me to learn how to grow things and on the roof terrace in the apartment and things like that. But yeah, but like I said, I started the Radio Prepper Network, and then me and like I say, Frank joined, and and the rest is history, really. But like I said,
a key part I was missing on our behalf was one question I'm always asked is, how do we contact you in an emergency, each other? Now, we've tried it over the years, and I've had various guys that are into radio, and they've faded in and faded out. But when I see somebody dedicated like yourself, radio comes, I said, we've got to get in there because this is the essential part of it.
Well, I think it's so overlooked. The reason why I started Radio Prepper Network is because a lot of preppers have some form of radio. The biggest thing I'm seeing since I've started the Radio Prepper Network is, when people join, I'm like, okay, are you new to radio or do you have experience in radio? I own a Baofeng, but I'm new to radio. I don't know how to use it. So they've got one, but they don't know how to program it. They say it doesn't work. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't work? I've never received anything on it. It's because they haven't really done much research on how it works. So I thought it's very important to show people, what radio is and how to use it efficiently. And the biggest question I get is, well, Lewis, what sort of radio should I get? Well, it's like, well, where do you live? What are you trying to do with radio? Because a lot of people think, well, I'm going to get a handheld and I'm going to communicate long distance. It doesn't just work like that, obviously, because in a grid down situation, a lot of the repeaters are going to go down.
Yes.
Because the repeaters are part of the grid. So all of a sudden, it's going to be mostly HF for the long distance communication.
Would you like to tell people how far we got today?
Oh yeah. Today we managed to, me being in the south of Italy, managed to contact Frank on
perfect.
And that was
FM.
On FM. I'm not even
FM.
Yeah, not even upper sideband. That was on FM.
And we could hear each other. We were like in the room. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And for those who are listening now and don't know a lot about radio, Lewis and Frank are talking about CB radio, 27 megahertz.
Yes.
And you don't have, this comes in a bit to how actually I and Lewis met, because that was because of Frank. And if I'm remember correctly, I was talking to Frank in his group about me being certified for ham radio, but I never got an antenna out because of whatever reason. And Frank sent me to you, Lewis.
Yes, that was it.
And it, which is quite funny because me and Frank are ham radio certified, but you are not.
No.
So it's lovely that you could help me out. And just a few days after that, me and Frank could actually get a contact on
Sure.
27 megahertz CB
Yes.
radio. Spotty, but still Sweden to Ireland.
Yeah. I think that was it, because you were asking me about the best setup for your situation, and I think I told you to set up a wire antenna or something. But yeah, but this is the thing, the good thing with CB radio, for anyone listening out there, this might upset a few people, but you don't have to be a licensed ham to get into radio to make long distance communications. Do I recommend that you get your license? Yes, I do. But it's not, if you're just trying to prep and you don't want to get into it heavily, and you want, you're not going to use it all the time, and you just want to have something there to be able to, in an emergency, you don't have to, go through your license and everything else just to be able to do that, because on PMR, which keeping it short, PMR you can use for your local communications, your handheld, and your CB can be for your mid to long distance communication. That's more of your base stations. So, you don't have to be licensed to use both of those. But but like I say, that the Radio Prepper Network come first, and then after that I was like, well, wouldn't it be great to actually form a group? Because, I saw the Radio Prepper Network was actually starting to take off, because I think it's because it's quite niched. There's not many other Radio Prepper Network groups, or there are lots of radio groups on Facebook and the communities out there, but they're not connected to prepping, if you know what I mean.
Whereas we're 27 megahertz, which is
Yeah.
license free. You don't necessarily need a license
Yeah.
for 27.
But like I say, and it's not connected. They're not connected to prepping, So I thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to kind of like create something like a hub to be able to connect all of these niched groups like medical, bushcraft, and everything else, and connect them together. More niched groups than just general prepping groups. And that's when like we said, we met Jim and yourself, Frank, and it's coming along nicely. I think we've got quite a few groups on board now, and it's coming together nicely. So yeah,
and it takes time to get there, and we'll get there. And I think it's a great system that we have going there. And fair dues to you. Well done.
Yeah,
Somebody had a brain for it, and it works.
No, but I think it's fantastic, and I'm really grateful I met you, both of you. So
yeah, no, it's been good, and that's how the Prepper Network podcast came about. So here we are now.
Yeah. Which
Who knows?
We'll make this interesting down the road. We will eventually do video. But
Yeah.
At the moment, we're just concentrating on just getting ourselves up and running.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was quite funny because you told me, Lewis, that we should make a podcast, and I was like, yeah, we gotta ask Frank, and you were like, no, it was Frank that suggested it to me.
Yeah.
It was your brother, Lewis.
Oh yeah, no, my brother said, "Oh, well, you guys should make a podcast," and I was like, "It's funny you say that because Frank was talking about a podcast too," and yeah, it was just like in the space of 2 days, both my brother and Frank mentioned a podcast, and I was like,
I've had another request for a podcast,
and I was like, well, do you know what? It's going to be because my brother mentioned, "Oh, it's too much work," and then Frank mentioned it, and I was like, well, do you know what? Because we've got the Prepper Network, like we could have Jim and Frank from both different groups and form together and create obviously, because if it was just me, I'd have to go out and find different people to interview all the time and speak to. It's just a lot of work, But if there's 3 of us, it makes it a lot easier. Conversation flows a lot easier.
We're doing a good job. We haven't actually physically met each other, so
no, exactly.
We're bouncing off each other. It's great. This is
great. Definitely.
I'm delighted.
You never know. One day we could maybe do a live episode in person. One day, that'd be awesome.
I think that's actually on the cards because I've got a few. I've got 2 requests for other interviews from people. So I did get, as I said last week, I got a request from the States to go over there and do a tour of bunkers over there. I had to turn it down because I was just too much work on myself. So it's on the cards down the road.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
I definitely would love to do a European tour, though. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
I've been over to France there 2 years in a row, just doing Normandy and all of the beaches there, the invasion. I love my history as well. Really into that. So just follow the Atlantic Wall and bump into Jim up there. You know.
Yeah, why
He
not?
can put us up even.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, how did you get into prepping initially? Is it just because it's because of the mindset in Sweden?
I don't know actually, because
He doesn't know.
when I'm thinking back, I got this question asked by a journalist, a student journalist, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it was in like 2019 when we moved here. But later I've remembered that I met my wife in 2015, and very early on she told me, jokingly, but a bit sincerely as well, that she stuck with me because she wanted to survive when the zombies came.
Hey, my wife is the same. I let you look after the prep, and if something goes wrong, I know you look after me. So that's what she said. She's
Oh, wow.
So, and the funny thing is that, yeah, maybe, but she's way tougher than I am. So, I mean, she's a real badass, but we are good at different things, and
you're a good team.
Yeah.
But it made me think that, okay, maybe I had been prepping earlier, but I didn't understand it myself. I didn't maybe think of it like that.
Yeah. Well, that takes us back to the conversation we had last episode, or the introductory episode, where we said, a lot of people don't even realize they're prepping. Like if they're prepping their car, for a breakdown, maybe they're stocking up on water in case they run out, or because they know that the shops are going to be shut in over the next couple of days or whatever. You naturally stock up. That is a form of prepping, but a lot of people don't realize it.
Cars is a form of prepping. You're
Yeah.
preparing your car to drive safely.
Exactly.
Simple as that. Put the bigger check in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, as you said, most people don't realize they're doing it, but I think it should actually, like Jim said, he was taught first aid in school at 7. I think that kind of stuff is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic that they're doing that, and that they're thinking of it. Whereas, well, at 7 years of age, I can't remember what I was doing, but I was sure I wasn't prepping. Oh, well, yeah. I built a canoe when I was 14, double the age, but sure, that's different. And then I went off for a weekend, and then my mother nearly killed me when I came home, because I made my own canoe up in a dangerous river, jumped wild, and came back wet. 14 years of age. Why not?
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah. Anything else you want to talk about there on the bugging out part, or do you want to call
No.
it? Are we all right?
Cool. Well, I think we're going to cut it there. We're at 50 minutes now. So, yeah, I think if anyone's listening and they're interested in joining a community of preppers, or Radio Prepper Network, or Prepping Europe, or Irish Survivalist Group, if anyone's got another group, a bushcraft group or whatever, and they want to be a part of the Prepper Network, just reach out to us. And yeah. And anything you want to say, guys?
No.
Enjoy the second episode and look forward to the next one.
Yeah. And also, yeah, if you got anything you want us to talk about, guys, put it in the comment section.
Anything at all. We discuss it, and we break it down, and we go through the pros and cons and whatever. Yeah, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, people, and look forward to talking to you guys again.
Yep. Take it easy, guys.